Hello, everyone. Welcome to William in the Magic Box. Today on our show, you're going to have Doc. Doc is from Ireland. So let's see what Doc has to say. Enjoy the interview. Hello, Doc. How are you?
I'm not too bad. How are you doing today, William?
Very well. Thanks so much for taking the time this evening for the interview. Thank you.
Delighted to be doing the interview.
My God, I
Strange to be
love.
on this side of the interview, to be honest with you. I'm usually talking, I'm usually asking the questions, so this is new.
It's always good to be the other seats to see how it feels. By the way, I like your background. Wow, that's amazing. I love the colors. I love the lights. I love the sculptures on your
Yeah,
right. Wow.
we like to have the horror aesthetic going here. I mean, this is the horror studio, the horrorverse we call it.
Amazing. So tell me where you're from, Doc.
I am originally from Tralee, County Kerry, Ireland. Now living just outside of Tralee in Lixnaw, County Ireland or County Kerry, which is a rural village just outside of the town.
Okay, so tell me something interesting about your town or about the village where you live right now.
Now, I'll be honest with you, I don't know a whole pile about the village I live in right now, but I do. I watched a few of your videos, so I was anticipating this question, and I looked up some stuff about my town. And there is one interesting legend or a myth that I could tell you about. So apparently, we have a place in Tralee called Scotia's Glen or Scotia's Grave, and
Okay.
Scotia was apparently a pharaoh's daughter, and she came over here with the legendary Celtic group or Gaelic group, the Miletians, and took on the original inhabitants of Ireland, the Tuatha De Danann, which directly kind of translate into the tribe of gods. And she took them on in battle, died here in Tralee, and apparently her grave is in Scotia's Glen, where she still haunts to this day. Now, archaeologists would say that's a lie, or that's not true, or not factual. It's a myth, but it's a little claim to fame, I suppose.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I love it. I love the way that you did some research a little bit regarding that. What's the biggest joy of waking up in Ireland every single morning?
Ooh. I don't know, man, because it's pretty cold here. So when you wake up in the morning, first thing you get is a chill. Suppose I mean, look, it's Ireland. The scenery is amazing. You know, I mean, to look out your window every day and see the mountains, and just see your surroundings. It's peaceful. It's nice. It relaxes you, prepares you for your day. I like to go on long walks around here, especially since we moved out into the countryside. I could,
Mhm.
I'll start and I could take off walking. I could be gone for an hour or two, and it's just there's no headphones, there's no music. It's just listening to the noise around me and taking in the scenery. So I think we're blessed that way. We're lucky that way.
Wow. And how far are you from Dublin?
Dublin. We are in the south of Ireland. The
Okay.
very south of Ireland. So it would take about with modern roads, I could get to Dublin in about 3 hours.
Okay. I see. Doc, let's start the interview talking about your podcast. Yeah. So, I was
Yeah,
checking
yeah.
some of your podcasts, a little bit of your clips. So tell me a little bit more how everything starts. So it's called It's Alive Pod. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a live podcast. It's the really, really fake true crime horror podcast. So that might take a bit of explaining. um, so essentially, this is a long story, to be honest with you. It kind of goes back a bit. I've always been interested in performing in
Hmm.
some capacity. As a teenager, I was in rock bands, garage bands and stuff like that. And growing up, I have always been a huge professional wrestling fan. So around the age of 25, 24, 25, I started training to become a professional wrestler. And I wrestled maybe 10 matches
Okay.
before the whole experience soured a little bit for me and I left. Anyway, the politics of the whole thing kind of soured it a bit on me, and I prefer being a fan than being actually in the midst of the performing. And even then, when I was involved with professional wrestling, my goal was never really to be in the ring. I always kind of had this desire to run a promotion. And
Oh,
the thing that kept stopping me was the idea that it would completely take over my life. I wouldn't be able to stop myself. I'd become a workaholic because I love wrestling so much. And I had ideas of how I would build this promotion and how I would market this promotion. But it involved me playing nice with other people. It involved me talking to wrestlers, trying to convince wrestlers to work for me, work with my storylines, all this kind of stuff. So it kind of went by the wayside. And for a very long time, I kept talking about going back and being a performer again, going
right.
back to wrestling. In the meantime, I had two children. And that kind of started to slow down how often I was exercising or how often I could train or prepare to go back in the ring. And as time went on, injuries started to pile up, age started to become a factor, and I realized that realistically, it probably wasn't in the cards for me to get back in the ring. So me and my partner had been talking for a while about what we could do as a project together. So we were talking about the idea of doing a podcast.
Hmm.
Now the thing about it was we were trying to decide what type of podcast we were going to do. And the way we were looking at it was, well, the way I was looking at it was, what do I love? And I was like, well, I love professional wrestling, but there is a million wrestling podcasts out there, and most of them are done by extremely popular professional wrestlers. So, I mean, if you have a choice to listen to me talk about wrestling or to listen to Stone Cold Steve Austin talk about wrestling, you're probably going to pick Stone Cold 9 times out of 10, right? So I said I knew that was a bad idea straight off the mark. Then there was true crime. I've always been interested in true crime. I don't want to say I love true crime, but I kind of love true crime. I find it interesting. I like examining it, examining the minds behind the crime, the reason behind the crime. But again, if you know anything about podcasts, true crime is done to death. And as far as I was concerned, my favorite podcast of all times is The Last Podcast on the Left. And they do true crime so well that I didn't feel like I could do any better than they were doing. And I didn't want to
Right.
be second best to anybody. And I wanted to come up with something original on top of it. So then the next thing we talked about was horror. We love horror movies. We watch a lot of horror movies. It was, well, maybe we could do a review show, or maybe we could do a podcast, a movie summary show where we take the movie and we summarize it. Um, Again, I started to kind of think to myself, well, I mean, if you love a movie that much, you don't need me to summarize it for you. You've seen it a million times. So me summarizing it, that's boring. And if I'm going to review the movie for you, I'm going to split my audience because half of you are going to be unhappy with what I have to say about the movie, and the other half are going to be happy about what I have to say about the movie. So I was
Uh-huh.
at work one day and I was listening to summary podcasts, trying to get ideas for what I wanted to do. And it kind of hit me. What if I took all of my loves and rolled everything into one? So the idea was
Amazing.
we would take horror movie stories and in a mockumentary style, pretend they really happened and talk about them like they're true crime. So we'd say, take Michael Myers from Halloween, and we'll tell you his story, start to finish, as if he was a real criminal locked up behind bars, and this is how he got there. So there was a bit of fan fiction involved as well because we'd have to fill in some gaps that the movies might leave out. And a lot of these horror movies, their continuity is usually a bit blurry because, you know, reboots, remakes, all this kind of stuff. And we thought maybe we could patch a story together that makes sense out of all the chaos that is, you know, the multiple timelines of multiple different movies. And then
Right.
where wrestling came into it was we were going, I don't know if you've ever heard this term, but in professional wrestling, there's a term called kayfabe. And kayfabe means staying in character, never
Okay.
dropping character, never letting anyone believe, basically, so that you will stay believing that the wrestling is real, you know? So
Right.
we decided we were going to do the same thing on our show. We were going to treat it like a true crime podcast. We were going to talk about it like it was a true crime podcast. We would never, ever, ever, ever mention the movie that we were talking about. We'd never mention the actors. We'd never mention anyone outside of the characters in the story as if they weren't real. And
Right.
that's basically what happened. We took all three of those ideas, mixed them into one, and we got It's Alive Alive podcast, a really, really fake true crime horror podcast. Told you it was a
Um,
long.
No, I love the story. I love for you to be able to somehow navigate through, do some research, what is out there, somehow for you to be able to find something unique about, your podcast. I think it's the way to go. As you said, there are so many creativity people around the globe, like doing beautiful things. And sometimes what we need is just something that relate to us, something that we like it, and something that we can express ourselves, through movies, through arts, could be anything that somehow
Yeah.
you can explore, something unique and different. And I think people
Well,
love
the
that.
unique side was the most important thing to me because
Yeah.
that was the first thought I had when the idea hit me. It was like, have I heard of this before? Has anyone done this before? Has anyone pretended these movies were real before? And I started doing research to see had anyone else done this. I was like, holy crap, we've come up with an original idea in a world where there are no more original ideas. This is brilliant. Let's do it. So I mean, we take pride in that we are quite possibly the only podcast that takes movies and pretends like they're real.
Amazing. Doc, are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and share your point of views?
Yeah, I'll try.
Amazing. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So I have here my best friend, Fluff Bruno. Fluff Bruno from questions. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to play a song just first relax before the first question, okay?
Okay.
Let's do it. Right, so before I start the game, during the interview, if it comes up a question that you don't want to talk about, you don't want to answer, always can change, okay?
Okay, I'm pretty much an open book. Unless I can't think of an answer, I'll answer it. I have no problem.
First question is, do you consider yourself to be a spiritual person, and how?
Very, very spiritual person. I am definitely against organized religion. I feel like religion in general is corrupted by humans and their version of what I think I get a lot of stick on my podcast for making fun of Christians a lot. And the thing about it is, I don't necessarily have anything against the general idea of Christianity. I think the base idea is a good idea. Love, respect, treat everybody really well. That's a good idea. Love your neighbor. That's a great concept. But I think that once money starts changing hands, spirituality goes out the window. And I find that a lot of modern organized religion is completely based around money. So I would consider myself to be a pagan. I would consider myself to believe in multiple gods, Celtic gods, European gods, Norse gods. I kind of, the way I kind of look at it is that in a time when it was hard for information to travel, like ancient times when paganism was really all over the world, you're talking about people in Norway, people in Greece, people in Ireland, Native Americans in America, all with the same general idea of what spirituality is, of what religion is. They had slightly different names for each of their gods, but the general gist and story was always the same. It's the elements, it's it's what's around you and watching that. And that's kind of the thing that mystifies me the most is you see a lot of modern day religious belief is based on the idea of miracles and what God can do for you and stuff like that, or seeing a miracle happen. And in my head, I'm looking and I'm thinking, look out your window, man. I mean, the fact that all this is happening the way it's happening, that's a miracle. I mean, is that not enough for you? The wind is blowing, the sun is shining, there's clouds, there's space, there's stars. We're a blue rock hurtling through space, and you don't think that's a miracle? So I think that should be enough for us. So I kind of believe more in the idea of, like I said, multiple gods
Yeah.
working together to make everything work in harmony. And through that, they come true in the elements. And again, like I said, as soon as you bring human greed into the situation, big buildings, lots of gold, lots of money, things start to get blurry. So my view on modern religion is that it has been corrupted by man, and that older religious beliefs, more baseline, back to basics, is kind of where you should land. Because generally old religion is pretty simple. It's treat the earth well and treat the people around you well, and after that, job is done, you know. So what more could you ask for?
Totally. Saying that, what's the biggest joy of being you? What do you like the most about being Doc?
What do I enjoy the most about being me?
Yeah.
It's a good question. I suppose the fact that I don't take no for an answer. If I want to do something and I get an idea in my head, I'm gonna go do it. Like I said, when I was a teenager, I wanted to be in a metal band. I was in a metal band. When I was in my 20s, I wanted to be a professional wrestler. A lot of people said that was a crazy idea. I wrestled 10 matches in front of an audience. I did it. I achieved that goal.
Wow.
And now I stepped into this world, this podcasting world, 2 years ago with a kind of a 4-year plan to get to a point where I suppose where this is a profitable a way of making money, a way of living, of sustaining my lifestyle by the time I hit 40. I'm 38 now. We're halfway there. And so far I have been just going at it full steam ahead. So I like that about myself. The fact that I get the idea and I am willing to follow through with it no matter what the cost or what's going to stand in my way.
Amazing. I love this, the focus about it. I love that. I think it's amazing for you to be able to explore different, places, different things, and also take the most of it. Amazing. Great. Next question. Let's do it. Okay, next question for you is, what's the biggest difference between you and your best friends?
What's the biggest, sorry, what?
Difference between you and your best friends?
Between me and my See, I don't want to. I don't know because I don't want to insult them. I have a small circle of friends. I keep a tight circle. I'm pretty particular about that. And I would have one person outside of my partner who is my best friend. Me and her, we were joined at the hip. We do everything together. But if you're talking about outside of my family and relationship, I have a best friend who I've been friends with since I was a child. He was my tag team partner as a wrestler.
Wow.
I suppose the biggest difference between me and him is what was the answer to my last question. I am willing to kind of just say, I'm going to go do this and I don't care what the consequences are. Whereas he's a little more responsible than me. He'll do the right adult thing before he does the crazy wild thing like I will. So I suppose that's the biggest difference between the two of us. Even though I think a lot of people have said I'm a bad influence on him. So
as I could see your eyes shining talking about your partner. So tell me, how did you path cross for the very first time, if you can share?
Oh. Another interesting story. So in between being a musician and being a wrestler, I was a part of a motorcycle gang. And that sounds rougher than it is. It was a motorcycle club. And we were just 6 friends who loved motorbikes and kind of felt like misfits in a way. So we kind of enjoyed the idea of this. I mean, like anytime you hear of motorcycle clubs like the Hells Angels and stuff like that, it's always a group of misfits that get together and party and have fun and enjoy life. And that's what we were about. It wasn't like Sons of Anarchy or anything like that on TV. It was basically six best friends who went on long motorcycle rides together and came back and drank and party and had fun. And Amy was actually going out with one of the other members when I met her. And when they broke up, the other member told me that he thought that me and her would be a good match,
Wow.
that we would get on really well. So for a while, I kind of ignored that. And then over time, she was still hanging around with us even after they broke up, and we got to know each other. And then there was one day, at the time, we were all kind of big into that. We were early 20s, so we used to drink a lot. We used to go out and party a lot and have fun a lot. So there was one day where she kind of left it slip. I was running a tattoo studio at the time, and she left it slip at the tattoo studio that she had never in her life been day drinking. So I said, "You've never been day drinking. Come with me this Saturday. We'll have some fun." So I took her out early on the Saturday, and that was on January the 11th, 2013.
Okay.
And exactly 1 year later, so our first date was January 11th, 2013. Our first child was born on January 11th, 2014.
Oh my God. That's amazing. Wow.
So we've been together ever since. And like I said, it's just kind of we just match, we pair. My friend was right. We were the perfect. I didn't believe in the whole soulmate thing until myself and her got together, because it's just a case of anytime I had a crazy idea, instead of telling me it was a crazy idea, she was like, "Yeah, let's do it. Let's try it. Let's give it a go." And she supports me every step of the way. Every time I come out with something mental, she just says, "Go for it." And she's right there with me. And yeah, we've been together ever since, and we've just, I think, where you hear a lot of people say that, relationships simmer down or chill out over time, ours felt like it just kept getting more intense. We always joked we're 13 years together, and it feels like we're still in our honeymoon period. Do you know?
Okay, so she's watching this interview right now and have a moment, an opportunity to send her a message. What would you say? She's watching.
Well, did I say? She is going to watch this. She watches everything. She's a part of the show usually. She'd be here if I could make the logistics work. She knows. She knows I love her. She knows she's the best thing that's ever happened to me. She's given me two great kids. She's given me a perfect 13 years. She's my partner on my podcast, my partner in crime. What more can
Oh,
I say?
sweet, very sweet. Next question. Let's do it. Right, before the next question, what's the biggest joy of running your podcast? And the flip side, what do you find most challenging about it?
The biggest joy. I don't know. I kind of enjoy all of it. I enjoy the research. I kind of going back to what I was saying earlier on, that I had this kind of idea that I wanted to run a wrestling promotion, but I didn't want to deal with wrestlers, and I didn't want to deal with the all the staff that would be involved with running a wrestling promotion, and all the booking of venues and all that kind of insurance, all this kind of stuff. I think that the podcast scratches that itch for me, because I get to tell stories using characters that people love, so people love these characters. I take the skeleton of their story and then I stitch it together into something different, something new. Sometimes I have to write backstories from, so I get to kind of flex my creative muscles. Sometimes I gotta, take little elements from one movie to patch it in here in another movie, and try and make the story make sense. And I enjoy doing that. I enjoy sitting down, and I mean, in all honesty, it consumes my life. We didn't get, when we started this, we didn't jump in thinking let's just do one podcast. We jumped into it thinking this is in a business way. And we were like, okay, we're going to have our main podcast that's going to turn up on Spotify every week, but then we need to have a Patreon page, and the Patreon page needs podcast episodes on it too. So we literally drop an episode of a podcast every single day.
Oh,
Every day. If it's not on Spotify, it's on Patreon. So it is literally now all I think about, all I do, all day, every day. From the minute I wake up in the morning till the second I go to sleep at night, all I am thinking about is what story we're working on, what research I need to do, what work is there for me to do next, what's next on the to-do list. I go to bed watching movies and documentaries just to try and take in the information I need to know for the next day. And I suppose that answers your second question as well, because that's also the downfall to this. It consumes everything. If
yes.
the way I see it is, if I really want this to be successful and I really want people to take me seriously, then I have to go hard. I have to push hard. I have to do this to the best of my ability at all times. So I let it consume everything. Now, another upside to that is we learned really, really quickly. We've been doing this for 2 years, but in those 2 years, we probably recorded somewhere near 1,000 episodes between every show that we do.
Wow.
Because outside of It's Alive Alive podcast that comes out on Wednesdays, which is the main show, we do the Horrorverse headlines on a Friday where we do horror news, horror reviews, and we talk a little bit about maybe a subject. We'll pick a subject of the week and we'll just have a little chat. Like this week, we're talking about the new Scream 7 movie coming up, and we just start knocking back theories back and forth. And they're the two shows that go out to everyone on Spotify or podcast or any podcast app. Then on Patreon, we have Mini Monsters on a Monday, which is Amy's mini-sode, where she does a little bio of cryptids like Bigfoot or different types of aliens or weird monsters that are legendary or mythical. The next day we have I do celebrity rap sheet where I take a celebrity and I look at maybe some scandals or crimes they were involved with. I do that for 4 weeks. Then Amy takes over and does a history show for 4 weeks called Playing with Bones. And then we switch every 4 weeks where I'll do a season, she'll do a season, I'll do a season, she'll do a season. Thursday, we release It's a Live Action on Patreon. And that show can vary. Sometimes it's true crime, sometimes it's movie. It depends. It's usually based around whatever we're talking about on the main show on a Wednesday. So, like this week, we did a movie called Savage Land, which was about a small border town in America where everyone was massacred in one night. And this one Mexican man who survived gets blamed, even though all the evidence shows he wasn't to blame for the thing. So obviously, there's an undercurrent of racism in there, and we decided, okay, has this ever really happened? And then we started looking up about Haiti and the Haitian gangs and how they go into villages and massacre complete villages all in one go. And we are like, holy crap, this is real. So we covered that, and It's a Live Action this week. Then we get back to Friday with the Harvest headlines. Saturday is just a picture day. We put up some pictures, and then on Sunday I do Real Talk with the Doctor, where I count down my top 5 movies from the week before to kind of give recommendations to people to watch. So like I said, this is all day, every day, non-stop.
I love it. I think it's amazing when you do something with passion. That's it. You just don't feel like work. You just feel like you're having the best time of your life. Great. Get it.
Sometimes.
Next question is, what will be the title of your memoir?
What will be the title of my memoir? To think about that one. What would be the title? Tales from the Horrorverse.
Amazing. Why is that?
Well, we call our Patreon page is patreon.com/the Horrorverse Network. Because since we have so many podcasts, it's hard just to kind of lump them all under It's Alive Alive. So we came up with this Horrorverse Network thing. And especially when we want to try and explain to people what it is we do, we say that the true crime we talk about happens inside the Horrorverse. It's like the MCU, like Marvel have their universe, DC have their universe. We have the horrorverse. All these horror movies you see happens within the horrorverse, and when we're in the horrorverse, we play like it's real. We pretend like it's real. We pretend like we exist within the horrorverse. That's why the Doctor lives in the horrorverse.
Right.
Josh is outside the horrorverse. He's the normal dude. He's the guy that doesn't go in. He's the settled, relaxed guy. But once I'm the Doctor and I'm within the horrorverse, we take off. So, and at the end of every episode, I usually end it by saying, "We'll see you all next time with more Tales from the Horrorverse." So, Tales from the Horrorverse would probably be the best name from my memoirs.
Amazing. Right, one question left. Ready?
Yeah, go for it.
Do it. Last one. You like dancing?
Do I like dancing? Uh, I've been told I can't dance, so I don't do it that often.
Before the last question, what's the biggest joy of being a dad?
The biggest joy of being a dad. There's a lot of them. I think anyone who is a parent knows that love is instant. That love is, the minute you see them, they're part of you and they are everything. As much as I say the horrorverse or the podcast takes over my life, they take priority. They are, but no, I'm lucky because they love everything I love. They, at 12 and 8 years old, they know as much about horror movies as I do, and they love them as much as I do. Nothing scares those two kids. But they're my best friends. They're my little mates. And as you get older, and all your friends start to have families, you have less and less time to hang out with your friends, and the people who are in your house with you become your friends. And my kids, to be fair, my kids are extremely mature for their age and extremely wise for their age. So the conversations I can have with them is fun. It's great. They come to me for a lot of information or a lot of advice, and it's fun to sit there and talk them through my own experiences with life to try and help them, guide them through their experiences with life. But the fact that we shared a love of movies and a love of horror is also fun because we get to talk about that a lot. So like I said, there's a lot. I mean, again, if you're a father, it's just the joy of being a father is just the joy of being a father, really, isn't it?
Great. Last question is, what's your favorite holiday season of the year?
Summertime. People would think it's Halloween, but I like the heat. I hate cold. For me, it's Halloween all year long around here. So Halloween doesn't have a great impact on me. I love the summertime. I like Christmas once we get to Christmas Eve and all the money side of it is over, and I can just sit down and relax with family and have fun with family. But do you know, summer would be my favorite because of the weather, but generally, I take everything as it comes. I enjoy everything as it hits me. So I find joy in kind of every season as it comes. You know what I mean? I mean, now we're coming up to the springtime where we're going to start seeing things grow again, and the green is going to come back, and the sky is going to be blue again, and that's awesome. And then the summertime comes, and it's hot weather, and it's sun, fun, beaches, ice cream, all that sort of stuff. And then we get back into the winter, but Halloween is right there before the winter starts. So that eases me back into the cold and stuff. And then we have Christmas. And then, so I just like to take life as it comes, and I enjoy all of it. But if I'm being really honest, and I'm going strictly off of weather, summertime.
Amazing. Right, not in yet. Let's play now the word association game, okay? I'm going to say some words. Just one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking. Let's start with money.
Greed.
Fear.
Horror.
Family.
Love.
Life.
Hard.
Religion.
Messy.
Love.
Love. The one true joy, I suppose.
Politics.
Also, as messy as religion, messier than religion.
Sex.
Love.
Friendship.
Sorry.
Friendship.
Again, I would say love. Real
Okay.
friendship.
Desire.
Love. Sorry.
Desire.
Desire. Goals.
Regret.
Regret. Unfortunately, wrestling.
Wow. Success.
Podcast.
One word for wish.
Sorry.
Wish.
One word for wish.
Yeah.
We'll go back to your last word, success.
Happiness.
Family.
One word for wrestling.
Sometimes joy, sometimes regret. Sometimes I love wrestling and I watch it religiously, but sometimes I do sit there and think that could have been me, especially considering there is a number of people I actually trained with and shared a ring with on television now in front of me that I know. And I was told at the time when I was wrestling that I was pretty good at it, and I had a chance to be pretty successful, mainly because wrestling is built around promos, not so much the actual work in the ring. And as you can see, I can talk without a problem. So the wrestling promoters liked me because as soon as you put a microphone in my hand, I played the bad guy really, really well. And so sometimes I watch wrestling and I feel a little bit of regret that I never went back to it. But a lot of the time it's joy because it's a art form where I understand no one's really it's like horror movies. It's violence without the violence. It's
I
violence.
see.
It's guilt-free violence. You know, no one's really getting hurt in the process of doing what you're doing. It does hurt. Just so everyone knows, if you wrestle, it can hurt. It does hurt. You can't fake landing on your back. Do you know what I mean? There are bumps and but you know how to soften it. You know how to work together. So you know no one's really out to hurt anybody. So
Oh,
there's that side of it. So I think that's where wrestling and horror kind of go hand in hand for me. It's violence without anyone really ever suffering or getting hurt.
one word for music.
Joy.
One word for Ireland.
Beauty.
One word for horror movies.
Hospitality. There's a lot for horror movies. It's going to make me sound like a psychopath, but relaxation.
Okay. And the last one now. It's a live podcast. One word.
Ambition.
Amazing. Let's pretend I'm going to meet your partner for a coffee and I'm going to ask her, define Doc in one positive and one negative word only. What she would say about you?
I think it will be the same word, driven.
Wow. Says everything.
The positive is that I'm driven, but the negative is I will ignore everything else around me because I'm too driven. And once I zero in on something, it's tunnel vision. Do you know what I mean?
Let's play now, Doc, in the magic box, and you can ask me a question. All right, but before you ask me the question, when people watch your podcasts, tell me one thing that you'd like people to take with them.
I suppose I always hear people say that true crime podcast that there's a certain amount of people out there that say you should feel guilty about enjoying true crime podcasts because you're enjoying a story about someone else's suffering in real life. Take us as the guilt-free version of that. You can come, you can listen to us, you can enjoy what we're telling you, and you know no one actually got hurt in the process of this tale. No actors were killed in the making of It's Alive Alive podcast. Do you know what I mean? So we're the kind of the fun version of true crime, and that's what we want you to do. We want to tell you a story and make it fun. And I think Whereas I do keep harping on about ambition and goals and trying to make money out of this as a so that this could be my career and my job and that I could do something I love as a job because that was always a big thing for me. I don't understand how people can go to a regular job every day and work a regular job every day if they hate it. I think you have one life, you only get one chance at this. Do something you love or you're wasting your time. And I wanted to leave something behind. And I'm big as well on the idea of like my grandfather left behind journals, and my dad gave me the journals to read. And it's really nice to have those journals and to be able to read through his life. And I think that this podcast for me is a way as well for me to pass on myself to the next generations. That there is audio and video record of my opinions, my personality, my temperament, my ideas, my artistic flow, and that not just my kids will have it, but my grandkids will have it, my great grandkids will have it, and that in 80, 90 years' time, I could be telling my great grandkids scary stories as they go to sleep at night and listening to their headphones. You know, I could be the one that's telling them their stories going to bed, and I could be long gone off this earth. You know, so I like the fact that I can leave
Amazing.
this behind to give just to leave my mark on the world in some little way.
Amazing. Okay, Doc, you can ask me a question now.
Okay, well, I suppose I gotta stay in theme here, right? And with Scream 7 coming out in a week or two, I gotta ask the question, William, what's your favorite scary movie?
Oh, wow. I was expecting this question, to be honest. I was expecting something like that. You know, I don't know exactly the right name, but one of the scariest movies I ever watched in my life is the Texas Massacre, Texas. It's
The best movie ever made is what you're talking about, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
yes. Oh my Lord. I'll tell you something, dog. I remember watching this movie for the very first time, and I literally couldn't stop thinking about this movie for the last following 2 weeks. And I watched with a good friend of mine a few years. And when I told him, I said, we need to watch this movie, but get ready because something unique, different that somehow got me somehow. And he watched it we all together. And it's been like maybe 15, 20 years we watched the first time. Yeah, more or less a long time. And he literally said to me, William, now I know what you mean. And sometimes we joke about it, said, oh my God, remember that movie? Because it's something about it that somehow it looks so real. I felt so scared at the same time. You know, it was such a movie that it literally stuck with me. Literally, I had a DVD
Hands,
here.
yep,
It just stays
hands
with me.
down.
Yeah,
Hands down. You ask anybody in the horror business what's the greatest horror movie ever made, and everybody will tell you the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is the greatest horror movie ever made. It is 50 years old, and it's still as scary as it was when it came out day
yeah,
one. And do you know what the craziest thing about that movie is? An interesting fact. There is very, very little blood in that movie. There's very little gore. There's very little killing involved. A lot of the kills are left up to your imagination. I mean, like, there's a scene in that movie where Pam is taken by Leatherface and she is lifted up and put onto a meat hook. Now, if you ask a lot of people, can they remember the meat hook going into her back? A lot of people will say, yeah, I remember that. I remember watching the hook go into her back. And it's like, well, they never showed that in the movie. That was left up to your own imagination. The thing about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is it's not just the story, it's the look, the picture, the sound, everything is used to attack your senses. It
yeah,
sounds scary. It looks scary. You can smell that movie through the screen. And it is, I mean, it's a work
totally.
of art. It is 100%. You are dead on the money right there. That is the best horror movie ever made, bar none. So
One of
I
the scenes
highly
that
that one.
one of the scenes that I never forgot was when he's dragging a girl down the basement, and her nails was literally on the wall. This scene is stuck with me. I was like, my goodness, it's
The
yeah,
whole thing
that's
is it's just an
I have
absolutely
a
terrifying movie. It's because funny enough, I say my kids love horror movies, and they keep asking me about that one, and I keep having to tell them, no, not yet. You're not ready for this one. You're not able for this movie. This isn't Scream. This isn't just a regular slasher movie. This isn't Freddy Krueger. It's not Michael Myers. You are not prepared for the Sawyer family and Leatherface. This is too much. There's too much psychological damage there, and I'm not dealing with it afterwards. I'm not paying for your psychiatrist bill after you watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre too young.
Amazing. Did you enjoy the interview?
I did. It was fun, nice, relaxing, and positive, which is nice because in a world today where we're bombarded with a lot of negativity, it's nice to sit down and talk about positive things with positive people. So I did enjoy that side of things.
Thanks again for taking the time. I know you are a busy man and you made the time for the interview. I love passionate people here, and I love to see the way you express yourself through art, through horror movies, and I think it's amazing. Keep going, and just wish all the best for your podcast, and just hope that things always go in the direction that you're expecting to. Amazing. Keep going. Never stop.
Same to you, William. Keep the positivity rolling on, man. I enjoy what you're doing here, and it's been a pleasure to be on the show. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So before you go, if you can share a positive message or anything that you live by.
I do. I have something that I say repeatedly, and I think, unfortunately, I don't think people will take to it, but it's my belief.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that there's a simple answer to a lot of our problems. Like I said, there's a lot of negativity bombarded into our system on a daily basis. I believe that if everybody lived by a simple rule, that we could fix a lot of this negativity. And that rule is treat everybody else the exact same way you want to be treated yourself. Amazing. Before you do something to someone, before you say something to someone, think to yourself, would I want that done to me, or would I want that said to me? And if the answer is no, don't do it. If the answer is yes, then go ahead. And I think that could make the world a much more positive place if you just had a bit of empathy and thought about how your words and actions might affect the next person and how that can knock on. So just treat people with the same amount of respect you want to be treated with yourself.
I love that. Wow, well said. Once again, thanks for your time. Thanks for being part of the show. Regards to your kids and also to your partner and family. And keep in touch. It was a pleasure having you on the show, okay? Have a good night.
Thank you. Cheers. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye. Bye. So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why do you like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye-bye. See you next time.